All right,
You can call me
gentlemen.
Dom.
What is up, gentlemen? Welcome to Motor Racing Podcast. It's a little late start, but you know what though? The show must go on. Things must go on. Kevin and Don, you guys take over. I will be rejoining you guys in just a couple of minutes. Okay, I'm going to mute my mic. All right.
Gotcha.
Hey Don, how you doing, buddy?
Oh man, just living the dream, ready for race weekend. It's already Friday. We got Darlington, we got Throwback, we got a lot of exciting stuff going on. Let's talk about it.
Man, yes, sir. I've been watching. I watched truck practice and qualifying. Truck qualifying was absolutely fucking insane.
Talk
We
to
are
me.
not the green flag hasn't dropped yet, and 5 or 6 trucks already have a stripe. These
Wow.
these guys right now, they through practice. Christian Eckes didn't get the qualifying position I'm sure he wanted, but as far as that goes, he was fastest in truck practice. So look for Christian Eckes to be up there. Kyle Busch. This is a new for Kyle Busch. This is the very first truck start Kyle Busch will be making at Darlington. He's never
Oh,
made a truck start at Darlington.
now, what an interesting thing for him, and that it's going to start raising questions. Do you think he is getting this start under his belt because something might be happening in the future where he might not have very many opportunities to make this start?
Um, I mean, yeah, completely. If you look at what the game plan was for Kyle, as far as racing Cup for so many more years until Brexton gets older,
Right.
I feel like there's a lot of truck races that we've seen Kyle in this year that we wouldn't necessarily see him run on a normal 5 truck schedule. I
Right.
feel like maybe he's trying to get starts and get ready for something that, like you said, something that's possibly coming, whether it's him saying, okay, goodbye Cup Series, hello Truck Series, or whatever that may be. And who knows? It may just be a track that Kyle's like, this has been fun. We've done Cup and Xfinity. And who knows? This may be the very first opportunity he's had in his Cup career to be able to go make a truck start at Darlington. Who knows? Maybe the bricks and stuff just didn't fall in place the way he wanted to in the past.
Which is
Uh,
odd because 20 years, you think he would have some sort of opportunity at it, right?
Especially, and I mean, look, Kyle's made a big impact on the sport in all 3 series. He leads the Xfinity Series in most wins by a driver ever with 103. I know we're shooting for 100 truck wins now, and we're at 63 Cup wins in 2 championships. So I'm excited. I'm sure Kyle is too tonight. I'm sure there's probably some nerves with it being a first truck because these things drive a whole lot different than an Xfinity or a Cup car.
Right.
But off the topic of Kyle Busch, being trucks, man, we got Nick Sanchez starting on the pole. Nick Sanchez threw out a qualifying time that was 3/10 faster than Corey Heim.
For first place over second place.
So it was a 23.398 for Nick Sanchez, and I believe it was a 23.765 for Corey Heim.
Wow.
So the fact, and Nick Sanchez was the very last truck to qualify. Corey went out there. Poor Raja, man, he went out there and gave it all he had. And I know they're probably going to end up having to go to a backup truck tonight.
Right.
He kissed the wall just hard enough that it pushed that tail out and bent it up a little bit. So who knows? Maybe the team can get that fixed up. Maybe we'll see. And who knows? The patch job or whatever they do, maybe it'll help it aerodynamically.
Yeah, you never
give
know.
Raja an advantage.
And now, are the trucks allowed to fix those types of things without getting penalized? Now, he wasn't able to finish his qualifying, so he's going to start at the back anyway.
So Raja actually went ahead and finished his qualifying lap, but
Okay.
I'm sure with there having to be adjustments made because of the damage fixed, I'm sure it'll be unapproved adjustments by NASCAR, and I'm sure Raja will have to start at the tail end of the field come checkered flag, or excuse me, green flag.
Green, right.
We've got Ross Chastain in the field tonight, driving for Nice Motorsports. He rolls off 6th.
And look for Ross to be super fast because that man can race Darlington in a cup car. So look for that guy to be real fast tonight. Top 5 finish for Ross.
I know Ross, we watched an interview earlier. He's excited to be able to run this race tonight.
Right.
He said he's a little surprised that he didn't get canceled last minute. He said that at the beginning of the year, when they say, okay, here, they're picking 5 races for Xfinity or truck or what have you, normally the races he picks end up being the truck challenges or the Dash for Cash. So he gets told no last minute. So the fact that he said the fact that they told him that he was allowed to run Darlington was pretty exciting to him. It's something he's wanted to do in a truck for a while. So look for Ross to run up front.
Absolutely.
We got to talk about ThorSport as a whole, don't we?
Get after it.
Ford being a part of the problem there. And I'm not saying Ford is a problem, but across all 3 series, we have yet to watch Ford win a race.
Right, and we're still seeing Ford being a part of the bad half of these photo finishes too.
Yeah, Ryan Blaney got the bad end of that finish at Atlanta.
Correct.
Chris Buescher, just barely the end of a splitter for Larson last week at Kansas. And then we had the finish at Texas between Sam Mayer and
Ryan Sieg.
There you go. So Ford has been that close. Cole Custer at Dover, man, had a fast car. Fast Ford. The Sieg brothers have had fast cars. Ford has showed up to the racetracks with speed, but there's been nothing. But to me, as a whole, ThorSport, you have to throw in the organizations in there as well, because Ford can't be just the entire root of the problem.
Right.
Ben Rhodes has had nothing but bad luck since the start of the season. He's rolling off 12th tonight, which is a top 15 start.
Right.
Darlington is a place where Ben Rhodes and ThorSport as a whole tend to run very well. So to say ThorSport racks off a win tonight would not be surprising, but in the same aspect, it would be, just because of the problems that Ford has been having.
Right. I definitely wouldn't place a $20 bet on Ford tonight, but it would not surprise me if they pull out a win. Absolutely.
You got Matt Crafton. He's not got I can't remember where he's starting tonight. He's not got a very good starting position tonight, so he's going to have to fight from mid-pack or the end of the pack to try and get up there. Christian Eckes was first in practice, fastest in practice.
And then he fell off.
He did, especially in qualifying. If I'm not mistaken, he's a top 10, top 15 start.
Right.
And he's already got 2 wins on the season, Bristol and Martinsville, and we have seen Eckes have a lot of speed at some of these other racetracks. It wouldn't surprise me if Christian Eckes got his third win of the season tonight.
Absolutely. He starts 7th, you said?
Somewhere in the top 10.
Yeah, Christian Eckes.
All right, I'm back. All right, gentlemen, I'm officially here.
Jordan, how's it going?
Out of me. Yeah, but
Christian, what do you mean, Kevin?
Well, you just came out of nowhere, scared the shit out of me.
Hey, it's called an RKO out of nowhere.
Hey, at least my neck is still intact.
True.
But look at Darlington. Darlington's another concrete track, and where has Christian Eckes got both of his wins this year? On concrete tracks, Bristol and Martinsville.
Right.
So look for Christian Eckes.
Since when is Darlington a concrete track?
It drives the same.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah.
Well, it definitely chews up tires like the concrete has here at Bristol.
So I believe Darlington is asphalt, but the abrasiveness is the same level as a concrete track, and it pretty much drives the same. But you have to drive Darlington. Both ends drive completely different, because instead of being one of your cookie cutter tracks, it's an egg shape.
That's true. Is it because of that pond in turn 4, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was
you've got different size turns because it's egg shape, and you've got different bankings on both sides. So you're gonna have to set your car up for one side or the other and hope for the best on the opposite end.
And a lot of it, especially for turns 3 and 4, you're going to have guys running all the way up against the wall down there all weekend.
You've got a lot of background noise, bud.
Speaking of Thor Sport, Ben Rhodes, I know he hasn't had the greatest of races. He's currently sitting 4 points out of the playoffs looking in. Then you have Daniel Dye, who is in front of Ben Rhodes, and he's only 1 point out from being in the playoffs.
Right.
Daniel Dye, who does he? That's the 45 truck.
The 43 truck.
43. And he's racing a Kyle Petty throwback. Speaking of Kyle Petty, he is currently in your neck of the woods, Kevin.
Where's he at? I would love to smack him. No, I'm just kidding.
Bristol. His charity ride. His charity ride's in Bristol.
Oh, that's what all the advertisement on Facebook was for Bristol. I didn't understand that. I saw a couple things, but it didn't go into detail. His charity ride was coming through. His annual charity ride was coming through Bristol, Tennessee today. See, and the only other person that I know that actually sits up in Bristol, Michael Waltrip. Of course, he's got his bar up there in Bristol.
Mm-hmm.
But anywho,
back to Daniel Dye.
Daniel Dye.
He races for McNally and Hilgeman Racing, part-time in the Xfinity Series.
Okay, and does he have a full-time truck ride, or is he part-time?
Yeah, full-time truck ride.
Okay, so full-time. Daniel's driving for Chevrolet, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. He's got the Silverado 43, and he's got the Chevrolet Camaro for Collie.
So we got.
Yeah. And he's not punching people in the dick.
Well, so we got Ben Rhodes and Thor Sport as a whole that really aren't doing a whole lot.
Yeah, there's actually I don't know if you saw it, but there's some changes going on with Thor Sport. The 13 and the 99 are switching crew chiefs. So Rhodes is going to get the 13's crew chief, and the 13 is going to get Rhodes' crew chief. They're going to try and see if that can help get Ben Rhodes a win.
Oh, interesting.
I don't feel like switching crew chiefs at this point just because of who the manufacturer is. I don't believe switching crew chiefs at this point is going to, and who knows? I can be wrong. That's just my opinion. I don't think a crew chief swap's going to do anything for Thor Sport. Because you have Thor Sport, who is a 4-truck team.
Mm-hmm.
So why are we only doing a crew chief change with 2 trucks? Why are we only focusing on one team or 2 teams?
That's true. You know what that reminds me of? You know what that reminds me of? DGR, focusing on the 17 only.
Yeah, the way they did Haley.
It was fucked up.
Nick Sanchez, man, again. Nick Sanchez starting on the pole tonight. He's got 1 win that came at a super speedway. But he's always fast. Nick Sanchez has always got speed. Used to be a he's a Chevrolet development driver. Sorry. Raced for Kyle Busch Motorsport. Well, in alliance with KBM. Chase Purdy, Jack Wood, those guys didn't really fan out and find the rides I feel like they wanted to after KBM got sold to Spire. But Nick Sanchez seems like he's landed on his feet. He's doing very well. Oh, Lord. The Xfinity Series, qualifying and practice have been rained out. They will not get any track time before the green flag flies tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure if they've come up with a starting grid order just yet. I'm watching Race Hub, it may have gone off already. There's a torrential downpour in Darlington right now, so we may not get a truck race for another 2 hours.
Okay, and they're originally scheduled for 6:30. For everybody that's listening, they are scheduled for 6:30, but they are possibly going to be pushed back a couple hours.
The camera angles they were showing from the front stretch, you couldn't even see the back stretch. It was pouring so hard.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure, with Darlington having lights, I'm sure they'll probably get that truck race in tonight. It sucks.
You know,
Go ahead, George.
you're right. The way Don's chilling, he's reminding me of Corey LaJoy, just chilling.
Hey man, you got to be relaxed when we're getting our conversation on about racing.
Yep. But if you guys, if you guys haven't heard, IndyCar is racing this weekend in the Grand Prix.
Oh, and speaking of IndyCar, Augustine Canapino, man, to the top of the board at Indianapolis. That's
Who was it?
Augustine Canapino.
Not anymore. He didn't win the pole.
How many cars qualified after him? I thought he was the last car
20.
qualified.
There was 27. Alex Pillow was on the pole. Christian Lundgaard is second. Will Power rounds out your top three. And then Justin Newgarden's fourth. Dixon sixth. Graham Rahal is ninth. Augustine is 15th. That's where he ended up at. Brian Herta ended up 24th. But not and Stingray Rob ended up starting in 27th. So that's just some of your notables.
And Colton Herta run out of fuel during practice or during qualifying?
I think he did.
Well, how strange is that? I mean, are they running that light of fuel to be that much faster to where they actually ran out of fuel?
So per IndyCar rules, you have to use the same fuel you practice with.
So he might have used up all of his stuff in practice.
Yeah.
I assume the way that it went with IndyCar is that he probably they like NASCAR. You can't tell exactly how much fuel you've got in the tank. When it's full, when it's fucking empty.
Right.
Those are the two for sures.
That's where there's no in between really.
Yeah, and I feel like it's the same way with IndyCar. I know Formula One is the same way.
Formula One doesn't refuel in the race anymore. From what I read.
Okay, so see, that's why I was Formula One. I didn't think measured fuel at all.
Yeah, they don't measure fuel, and they don't from the last thing I read, I'm not sure if it's still accurate today, but they don't refuel during pits anymore.
Okay. See, and I'm just now getting into Formula One within the last 6 months, so I'm still learning a lot.
Same.
And like I said, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would like to know all the facts, and just like our viewers who are listening.
Right, and you're not wrong on what you were saying. You were saying that Formula One doesn't have any gauge to measure where their fuel's at. I was just adding that about them not refueling during the race now.
And I didn't know that they didn't refuel during the race, so I hate to hop from IndyCar to Formula One, but how do we measure? How do these crew chiefs know? Because Formula One races are lengthy. We see the tracks they go to. They're miles and miles. Some of them, Coda. They go to Coda, and Coda's what, over 3.5 miles, 3 miles, something.
3.5, yeah, correct.
And I know Coda is not the biggest racetrack they go to.
Really, I thought they were.
Coda, what was it? I think Miami is very close to being possibly Miami. It might be another one that I'm thinking about. I've got the F123 game in there that I'll look at that later.
Yeah, I'm not sure how long their races run. I thought they were shortened a little bit to allow for a full fuel cell to last a race. That's kind of where they landed on. I think it was a safety thing as far as refueling for Formula One.
Well, I mean, if we look at that big crash, I can't remember the name. It was Team Haas.
It was Romain Grosjean.
Okay, so I'm talking about the big fireball where half the car's still laying out on the racetrack, and he's still
right.
I feel like maybe that's why Formula One's like, okay, no refueling. Maybe that's why they changed to no refueling during the pit stops. And maybe because of we see NASCAR and we feel like the gas men, all these guys are working so close with the race car. But what people don't understand with IndyCar and Formula One, people are working really close to these race cars.
Yep.
They pull in. You have a guy that's literally standing in the pit box in front of it to lift up the car. If the driver makes a mistake, that guy's getting hit.
And we've seen it to where they've gotten run over before. Well, not run over the top of, but they've actually gotten hit by the car because the driver didn't stop in time.
Yeah, so we saw it with Lewis Hamilton earlier this season.
Right.
So the fueling, I could probably see Formula One, especially with as close as the pits are. It's not, their garage area is literally right behind the pit stalls.
Yeah.
So the fact that there's a major fire there, that's a big safety issue.
Right.
And I don't, like I said, Formula One is European. I'm not sure.
Y'all, we still got 18 minutes left.
Hey. Cup Series. Who do we see? I know we haven't had practice in qualifying. As far as the Cup Series right now, my pick for this weekend is going to be Eric Jones.
Watch him.
I mean, he's coming back. I mean, he was missed the last two races because of injury. I'm going to agree with you on that one, Kevin. I say Eric Jones just outshines everybody this weekend, saying, hey, look, I may have been injured, but look, I'm back, and I'm back with a vengeance.
Well, and the only reason I say Eric Jones is because normally when we have somebody out of the car for the length of time, he's not been out of the car for a great length of time, but he's been out of the car. Normally those guys come back in refreshed, amped, pumped, ready to hit that gas pedal and shift to them gears, man. But that Jones boy, don't ever count him out. He has 2 Southern 500 wins. One with Richard Petty and it's Legacy now. One with Legacy, and then the second or the first one was with Joe Gibbs Racing in the 20 car. I would not put it past Eric Jones to fly out and have a fast lap time, fast practice, fast qualifying, and knock out that win this weekend at Darlington for Toyota.
Absolutely.
Now, coming, we've heard Michael McDowell leaving to go to Spire. I know he said he's going to keep his head down. Darlington is one of these racetracks that we notice that Michael McDowell is one of those people that has the I don't give a fuck attitude when it comes to this racetrack.
Right.
But there's a lot of people I feel here lately that have gained that attitude, especially after last year with the stuff that went down between Kyle Larson and Ross Chastain.
Right.
And then Martin Truex Jr. and whoever the one that was that turned Martin into the wall. If I'm not mistaken, it was Chase Elliott, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Oh, NASCAR's golden boy.
Oh, man. Don't get me started on that conversation. But
I like your shirt, by the way.
Thank you. Man, this stuff's going to be vintage. The other thing, I'm sorry, I'm going to go off topic. The people...
If it's racing related, it's not off topic.
Well, no. Okay, so Kyle Busch, to the fans that said, fuck Joe Gibbs Racing, and we're pretty much the people that said screw M&M, screw Joe Gibbs Racing, and threw away or burned or tore up or did whatever they wanted with their M&Ms and 18 gear. I'm not that fan. This stuff, I'm a Kyle fan through and through, man. Win or loss, trust me, this season's been hard. We should have had 2 wins already. Atlanta and Dover should have been a win for Kyle. Kansas, if we'd have been able to get up there and compete with Larson and Buescher, which I don't think, even with all the adjustments we were making to make the car better, we had a 3rd place car. I don't feel like we could have won, but if something would have happened and we could have backed into another win, like Kyle says, a win's a win, man. No matter how they come, you take them as they come.
Well, like, can I elaborate on that real quick? Because you were talking about the range shortened ones not counting as real wins, but you agree with Kyle that a win's a win no matter how they come, or are you just saying that's what Kyle says?
No, so when our conversation,
I just asked.
No, you're good. To me, a range shortened race, to me, and this is just me, I'm not saying it has an asterisk to it. It doesn't have any less meaning to a driver who wins, especially to the Bubba Wallace haters who are like, okay, weather shortened race at Talladega. Out front, like you said, no matter if it's shortened, somebody's taking home a trophy.
Right.
But to me, anything could have happened between the point that they threw the red flag to the point of the rest of the race, the checkered.
Absolutely.
Who knows? It probably still could have been Bubba. But then again, it could have been Kyle Busch, could have been Chase Hill, it could have been Kyle Larson. We don't know.
Right.
To me, I don't feel like those race wins have a lot of meaning just because of the way they came.
Right.
They count as wins, yes. And as a Kyle Busch fan, as we've won a lot of rain shortened races, a lot of weather shortened races. To me, those might have a little bit of an asterisk next to them just because we didn't complete all the laps and we didn't take the checkered flag.
Would it be fair to say that all the drivers had an opportunity to be in first place when the red flag comes out for rain, and so that could very well help the value of that win, as every other driver on the track had an opportunity to be out front? Whether or not they were or not is to be determined.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you there. The everybody else in the entire field had an opportunity. Look at Clint Boyer, minus the super speedway walking away from Bubba Wallace. Clint Boyer got a weather shortened win at Michigan, I believe, the year or two before he retired. And then so Martinsville, he gets the win at Martinsville, rain shortened race at Michigan. I don't feel like those racetracks, I feel like everybody has the same opportunity, but at a super speedway, everybody has an equal opportunity.
Okay.
At different tracks, everybody has the opportunity, but when it comes to super speedway racing, where it's a level playing field, I feel like at super speedways, everybody has equal opportunity, and every other racetrack, they have the opportunity. Now,
Right.
As the opportunity present itself and the car's just not fast enough at other tracks, of course, they have the opportunity to be up front. Well, their car's better, it's driving better, we just don't have the speed, whatever the reason may be.
Right.
Super speedway comes, we're always talking about, and that's anybody's game.
Right.
So that rain shortened race, it went to Bubba Wallace, but it sure as hell could have went to Christopher Bell or somebody else.
Correct.
It's in the past. Checkered flag's already flown. The trophy's been given out, and we'll never know. But for those guys that the rain shortened stuff, we just seen it earlier. We just watched it at Dover with the Xfinity race just 2 weeks ago. They were talking over the radio, weather in the area. All these guys staying out. Justin Allgaier having to pit right before the last green flag restart because he ran out of gas. That's just Justin had every opportunity to win that race, just as Cole Custer did.
Correct.
So whether the
kind of creates, would you say you create your own luck in those kinds of instances where they actually thought it was going to be canceled, like the race was going to be called, well, they ended up getting the track dried and everybody went racing anyway?
And I feel like NASCAR has done a whole lot better when it comes to that.
Right.
So they flew the caution flag as soon as they seen, okay, small raindrops on the cameras, whatever. Good call by NASCAR, considering they have completely fucked the pooch on that in the past.
They've whiffed it, haven't they?
Yeah, and a big example, New Hampshire a couple years ago. Before the reveal of the next gen car, you had Kyle Busch starting out front. The rain came in. Kyle Busch is in the wall. Denny Hamlin's in the wall. Martin Truex Jr. is in the wall.
Yep.
You almost took out an entire organization, and then NASCAR does nothing to make it right. I know there was a lot of people bitching, well, since NASCAR fucked that up, they should allow them to roll the backup car off. Well, no, they don't have time to red flag it and to give the teams time to get those cars ready.
Right.
I wish NASCAR would have done that as a Kyle Busch fan, just because we were one of the ones that ended up in the wall. We had a fast car that probably could have won that race.
Is it possible for a team to get that car race ready, and then because it still has to pass tech, it still has to go through all that? You know what I mean? So
to me, I feel like that's a chance that NASCAR needs to take. Now, obviously, with these new next-gen cars, the backup car that comes in, there's no tranny, there's no motor.
right,
Half the time, it's not even wrapped. We saw a couple years ago at Vegas when Kyle Busch backed the Ethel M&M's car, or that Ethel Camry, into the wall. Had to go to a backup. The car they rolled off wasn't wrapped, no motor, no tranny. Still had a Denny Hamlin sticker in the front window and his Denny Hamlin's name in the rear window.
yeah,
So that car had to have a complete makeover to be race ready.
right,
Team that took over 20, almost 24 hours. And that was with Kyle Busch's team, Martin Truex team, Denny Hamlin, all the extra hands they had on deck to be able to get that race car ready. I mean, what do you do?
Yeah.
Make sure
All
that,
right.
so
with the 8 minutes we have remaining, what is your top 3 throwback schemes of the weekend? Don, starting with you.
It goes back for me because it was one of my first little Hot Wheels that I ever got, but it was the 44 Hot Wheels car, the blue with the little orange track through the number.
The Richard Petty throwback.
Right, that one's always been just for whatever reason right there to me. So that one I think is going to get the first place. I think Haley's 15 looks really awesome in the Dale Earnhardt blue and yellow Wrangler colors. That one is just, man, that car pops like crazy. And then I think it's hard to go against. I can't think of the driver's name, and forgive me for that, but the all red car with the circle white.
Kaz Gralla for Rick Ware Racing.
Gralla's car looks incredible for something so simplistic and easy. That thing looks awesome.
Kevin, what about you?
Man, I'm gonna have to go with my first 2. It's gonna be Haley Deegan and Kaz Gralla. Like, I think the only thing Haley's, I have to agree with you. The paint scheme pops, the bright yellow, the bright blue. I think the only thing that probably would have made it better, because the numbers are blue, instead of using just a base blue, they should have used a blue color chrome number. And I feel like that car really would have popped.
That would look awesome.
Kaz Gralla, man, just because. Jordan, I don't know how much younger you are than me and Don, buddy. But we grew up on Gone in 60 Seconds. Eleanor, the paint scheme that Kaz Gralla's car came off of.
Oh, yes. I'm 31.
The race car, that the way that they used to be set up back then, the paint schemes, the numbers, kind of like how Herbie is set up. You know, the white bubble with the 53.
Right.
Yeah.
The different color pinstripes. To me, that's all. But as far as my top one this weekend, it's definitely hands down got to go to Kyle Larson.
That's fair.
That Terry Labonte throwback, man. It's even on a next gen car. That's the slickest looking ride out there this weekend.
You know, seeing that scheme, I'm looking at it right now in front of my face, takes me back to my childhood, back to 1997 when I first became a NASCAR fan. That car was just popping, but I became a Jeff Gordon fan because I loved the colors of that 24. Shut your face, Kevin. I know you're going to say some shit.
No, I'll give props. The Hendrick Motorsports, man, when it comes to Hendrick, their throwback schemes every year are always absolutely insane.
Right.
Yeah. But
straight garlic.
I gotta say, my top 3, my number one, William Byron's 2009 Jeff Gordon throwback scheme with the flames and the Exaltra on the front. That is my top. That is my first. Second is going to go to Haley Deegan and her Wrangler 15. But my last one, I gotta go with SVG and that Marcus Ambrose throwback.
Ooh, yeah, I forgot about that one.
Nice pick.
That Watkins Glen throwback.
Man, now
That Ambrose car is awesome.
Now, since they've been doing the throwback weekends, what is your all-time favorite? When I say all-time, your all-time favorite scheme since they've been doing throwback weekends?
Oh shit,
Man.
Yeah, I would have to say Austin Dillon in that number 3 tribute to the Silver Bullet for Dale Earnhardt. That
Dude,
silver all-star car. That was.
I could not agree more. I could not agree more.
If y'all are gonna make me pick, I have a tie, and I'm not even a Dale Jr. fan, but I got to pick one of his. When they did his Budweiser throwback at his last Darlington race in the '88 car, where it was red, and he got out, and everybody had a Budweiser with him. I think that was really cool. That was a special moment for Hendrick and all those boys. But it's a tie with when Casey Kane got his throwback on the '95 car. They made it look like his 2006 Dodge car with the red and white.
Oh yeah.
That one hits home for me, and I love that throwback.
Now, talking about throwbacks, the one thing that I feel like NASCAR has missed the opportunity on time and time again, the 95 car, whether it was Kane or Christopher Bell, was a Lightning McQueen paint scheme at Darlington. I feel like NASCAR screwed the pooch and didn't allow that to happen. Whether it was NASCAR or whether it was the team, somebody missed the opportunity to do that. And to me, Darlington would have been the perfect place.
Absolutely.
I agree, but prediction time. All right, so we're gonna start. All right, so we got 3 minutes. So
Don't make me choose, man.
For the Cup Series, I'm going with Kyle Larson in that Kellogg's throwback. For the Xfinity, I am sticking with Haley Deegan, but I know it's probably going to be.
If she wrecks that car, a piece of that car is going to be hanging up in my living room next week. Promise.
I believe it. I'm going to go with SVG to win the race overall, but I still got to stick with Deegan. And for the Truck Series, Corey Heim.
Oh, for he's staring away from Ben Rhodes this week. Holy shit!
And for IndyCar, Alex Palou.
What about you, buddy?
So,
Kevin, what you got?
Oh yeah, go ahead, Kevin.
I'll start from the bottom. So I guess if we do IndyCar, you know how I am, Team Penske with Joseph Newgarden.
As long as they don't cheat. I'm joking. I'm joking. I am literally joking at that.
No, well, I was gonna say, coming from a man who roots for Penske in the NASCAR Cup Series.
Shut your face! I am a Graham Rahal fan. I stick with the boy from Columbus, Ohio. I am a Graham Rahal fan.
Now, when it comes to
the local boy.
Truck Series tonight, it's hard, man. It's going to be a 4-way lane for me between Ross Chastain, Kyle Busch, Corey Heim, and Nick Sanchez. All good drivers, but Truck Series, I'm definitely going to have to stick. I'm going to have Kyle Busch gets it done tonight. Xfinity Series, definitely SVG. That's who I've been rooting for all year, of course, unless Kyle's going to run, which he hasn't run any Xfinity Series races this year yet.
He needs to not no more. He made a promise. He needs to stick to it. Stay away.
Well, Jordan, if you're going to open up that can of worms, buddy.
I'm not opening it up. We're moving on.
Okay, so as far as my Cup Series pick goes, it's definitely going to be Eric Jones.
That's fair.
He's got there with 2 Southern 500 wins, and the weather really not being too much different from September when they run. I feel like Eric Jones can get it done this weekend.
Those wins was in the 43 and the 20?
Yes.
Okay,
so
cool.
One for Richard Petty, and so one for Chevrolet, one for Toyota, and hopefully maybe they'll get another one for Toyota this weekend.
All right. What you got, Don?
Listen, it's really hard to go against Newgarden out in Indy. The guy is strong. The guy is consistent. Whether the whole cheating thing is in the past, we're all moving forward. They owned it up. They're moving forward. So let's see. Newgarden probably take that trophy home. Truck Series is a tough one, man. It's such a wild race with these trucks, the way they slide around. I love me some Corey Heim, man. I'm becoming a big fan. Nick Sanchez is really fast. He's hungry. He's energetic. He's passionate. Ben Rhodes, I think Ben Rhodes might finally break through. But I might have to dark horse it a little bit and give me some Ross Chastain in that truck. I want to see him. I want to see him win that truck. I think that'll be really, really, really cool to see him in victory lane celebrating.
That's fair.
As far as Xfinity, I think Ford breaks through with Cole Custer. I know he qualified on the pole. He's not had the greatest luck here lately, so let's see him turn that around a little bit more. So I'll go with Cole Custer on that. And Cup Series, I think again with Ross, I think he's got some redemption he's looking for with what happened with Larson last year. And he's fucking good at this track. So let's see him get it done. I'm gonna go with Ross on that one.
All right. Well, I say, you know what? This show went on for about 40 minutes tonight. I think what I'm going to start doing is if I'm not even where I need to go yet, go ahead and start the show. Y'all talk about stuff, and then I come on. That way we can get to the 45 minutes that Kevin requested not too long ago.
I feel like maybe 45 minutes might give us a little time, a little longer.
Yeah.
I feel like 30 minutes, especially during some weeks, like after Kansas this week, 30 minutes, man, is not enough time to be able to talk about all the stuff that went on and the possibilities, because Kansas has got a second date in the playoffs. And with it being in the playoffs, that's what do you do? So when you have an intense week like we did at Kansas, especially with a racetrack that has a second date, it produces a race that it did. You're definitely looking forward to later in the season to see what it is. So there's so much to talk about, and 30 minutes to me is just not enough to cover what we need to cover across all.
No, I agree. Now, if it's just one NASCAR, if it's just one race weekend, that's fine. 30 minutes is fine. But when you got like F1, IndyCar, and all of them at the same time, that's what I said. I don't know if you heard it or not, but the other day, I said we're having 4 shows the week of Memorial Day weekend. Monday is the Monaco Grand Prix. Tuesday's the 500. Wednesday is the 600, and Friday is a preview for the weekend.
Busy.
All right. So until then, as Samantha Bush says, don't miss Motor Racing Podcast Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Good night,
Y'all be
gentlemen.
safe, guys.